WCBS News Time, 7:31.
There's renewed hope in Washington that a deal to avoid a U.S. default can be worked out before the August 2nd deadline for raising the debt limit. President Obama is embracing a proposal from the so-called Gang of Six senators, which would reduce deficits by nearly $4 trillion over the next decade, a plan that now seems to have the support of 43 other senators from both parties.
But there are issues that still need to be worked out, especially in the House, where Republicans passed a bill last night calling for spending cuts and a constitutional amendment requiring a balanced budget. Joining us live on the Newsline now is Connecticut Congressman Jim Himes, who sits on the Financial Services Committee and is a former Goldman Sachs VP. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning, Pat.
So what do you think about the debt ceiling debate and the lack of a deal so far in these latest developments?
Well, I'll tell you, yesterday was an interesting day. Just as I and others were getting downcast around the prospect for any sort of deal and therefore, continued uncertainty about whether we're going to do what pretty much everybody down here knows we need to do, which is to raise the debt ceiling to pay our bills. The Gang of Six emerges at about midday with a proposal that seems to be attracting a lot of attention in the Senate. It's a proposal that looks like it is more or less based on the Simpson-Bowles Debt Commission of December. Many of us thought that while a lot of the things in there are very, very difficult, in fact, everything in there is difficult, it's at least a balanced place to start. And so the state of play as we start the day today, Pat, is, as you mentioned, senators seem to be coming on board, and the real challenge is can in particular, the right wing of the Republican Party in the House embrace this plan? At the end of the day, some of them will need to, and I should also point out that, undoubtedly there will be things in this plan that annoy the left wing of the Democratic Party. So, the question is there enough of a center in the House right now to support a deal like this?
You say the Gang of Six plan is a good start. You don't sound like you're 100% on board with it, though.
Well, only because, we've really not had an opportunity to look at the details. So, Mike, as you know, with these deficit reduction plans, whether they're created in Washington or by Governor Cuomo or Governor Malloy, they're always ugly. I mean, every element of the package that is about fiscal sustainability involves cuts, it involves changes to entitlement programs, and it involves the possibility of changes in the tax code. Each and every one of those things are never fun to talk about. So, anyway, a lot of us are still reviewing this thing. I think it's a good sign of progress, and I must say I'm a lot more optimistic than I was 24 hours ago.
Well, the market seemed to like it, rallying yesterday on news the Senate plan was gaining support. How do you think the markets will be reacting as we get closer to that deadline, August 2nd?
Well, I think we did see a positive bump in the market yesterday, and, there's no question that the markets were starting to get nervous about whether Congress was going to raise the debt ceiling. I'll tell you, to the capital markets, whether it's the stock market or the credit market or anything else, the prospect that there's any chance that the United States government is not going to pay interest on Treasury bonds is the chairman of the Federal Reserve called it potentially cataclysmic. So, hopefully we'll see renewed confidence, and hopefully we'll get this across the finish line.
Are you confident that's going to happen? I mean, it's political suicide almost if the deal's not done.
Well, unfortunately not everyone down here believes that, and there are, people, including Republican presidential candidates, who are saying that actually you could not raise the debt ceiling, you could, get close to a default, and gosh, I'm not sure anything bad is going to happen. I think that's an awfully irresponsible thing to do. So, unfortunately, the politics are not quite as clear, Mike, as you're describing. But look, fundamentally, we've gotten a little bit of a break here with the deal that, hopefully allows just enough members of the House and the Senate to get it done so that we get past this debt ceiling in good order.
So what's your biggest concern in 2 weeks if we don't have a deal?
Well, look, we've got the McConnell plan, which we haven't talked about to fall back on. And, Mitch McConnell of the Senate proposed a plan whereby the president would effectively unilaterally raise the debt ceiling. And that gives us an out. That allows us to raise the debt ceiling, which, again, is what we need to do. It's just, unfortunately, a very cynical plan. It would have, allowed the Republicans to beat up on the president from now until the 2012 elections for raising the debt ceiling. And it was a punt. It was fundamentally a punt on doing the hard work to arrive at a deal to begin to get our fiscal house in order. So there is a plan B. It's just, it's not a terribly attractive one.
Connecticut Democratic Congressman Jim Himes, thanks for your time. Should be a fun 2 weeks. Enjoy.
Okay, thanks very much.